So you're new to Dying Light 2. You could be a returning player from the first game, or you could be brand new to the series as a whole, but fret not, this guide is made for both of you. In this guide I'm going to be covering the first area you get to play in the game, so the tutorial zone technically, where to get all the loot, weapons, healing supplies, all of that. This is going to be the first episode of a suspected multi-part series. It's going to be at least 3 episodes long from what I'm estimating. If you guys want to see any future guides or anything like that on this game, leave comments on what you would want to see, so Easter eggs, where to get the best gear, all of that sort of stuff. And make sure you subscribe, obviously, so you don't miss any of these episodes, and let's get into the guide. After you gain control of your character and up until your first cutscene with Spike, there will be actually nothing of note for you to grab, but immediately afterwards you run into the woods. After a short trek you will notice there is some honey and chamomile. If you use your survivor sense, like the game prompts you to, you will notice that there will be a total of 1 honey and 2 chamomile there, but slightly further down the path, if you keep using your survivor sense, you will notice there is another honey on the tree. You can actually see it in the back there. Once you are done collecting all the honey and chamomile, you'll enter the mansion with Spike, where you go for a side entrance. What you want to do here is just keep using survivor sense over and over and over and over, just so you can loot everything for yourself, because if I covered every individual item in here, the video would get ridiculously long and I don't want that. But there are 2 things of note which I do want to show to you guys. The first one is a record of Who Do You Voodoo, which is a song found in Techland's previous title Dead Island, as a callback to that. And the other one is, if you wait for around 10 minutes, I found, Spike will eventually come sit on the grand piano in the main room and start playing the Dying Light theme song.
Who do you voodoo? Sounds familiar.
After you are done cleaning up the mansion, you will come outside and interact with this photo and letter, whereas shortly after, Spike will call you over and hand you a rare baseball bat as a gift. Please put this away in your inventory and do not use it. This is one of 2 rare items you will receive, 2 rare weapons, and I will need you to keep those for the next guide that will be coming out. They will be pretty much required so you can have your own demonstration to help you get a better understanding of what will be in that guide. And you'll find plenty of other weapons in this beginning area, which I will show you the location of all of them, so you need not to worry. You will get weapons to use, and at no point are you in any immediate danger during the tutorial area, so you won't have to worry. And within talking about weapons, let me show you some locations. A few things I want to mention just before I get to some of the weapons. There are a couple items on the way to the weapons. There is, I believe, 3 chamomile and a honey. These will be on the path, so do not drop down any little ledges on the path or anything, just follow them through and they'll be right there. On the first path you're walking down, it will be on your left, you'll find 2 chamomile and a honey. As you walk down a little bit further, on the cliff edge facing to the lake, you will see a single chamomile plant. I implore you to collect these both, because every single healing supply you get early on will be of great use to you. After reaching the bottom of the path, on your left will be a campfire, which includes a duffel bag and a chamomile plant. On the opposite side of that path, you will find 2 more chamomile plants, one by the ruined chair and one by the cushion of the chair. Slightly further down, you will notice there's a beehive on a ruined car. Do not worry about the biters in this area, they do no damage to you, literally 0. And any damage you have taken from falling or anything like that, You'll sleep shortly, so you'll be fully healed after that, so do not waste any healing supplies. On the outside of the building, you'll find 1 resin and 1 alcohol. The alcohol is by the window, the resin is by the zombie I'm currently attacking. Use your survivor sense if you cannot find them, so that you can locate them a bit easier for yourself. Next to the boat on the floor outside the building, you will notice that on a little bench there is a machete type weapon. On the inside of the building there is an assortment of loot ranging between rags to scraps to soap to all of that. There's also chamomile and honey on the outside, and if you were going to go back to where you initially dropped down and take a right and go into the water, you will find a sunken boat with a broken shovel weapon on it. After clearing the area, hop up on this little rock and you will grab your chamomile plant. As you continue upwards, there wouldn't be too much to note. There will be a couple biters, I believe 1 or 2 in the area, so dispose of them as you wish. And just so you know, it's not mandatory for you to have to hop up that bus. Obviously run around the area, look for chamomile plants that are dotted along the path that you will walk. And at the end of there will be a beehive and I believe 2 chamomile. But a little trick that I will want to show you is that if you walk around the edge of the lake, there is actually a small rock face that you can climb up, giving you a shortcut, meaning that you can cut the time you have to spend here in like half. As you enter the tunnel, I recommend you just sneak past these zombies. There is no point actually fighting them, since you will just waste valuable weapon durability, and you won't really gain anything significantly from it loot-wise. But what I can say is, as soon as you are past this tunnel, between the car and the concrete railing of the highway, there will be your first 2-handed weapon, a savage bludgeon. And just climbing over those vehicles and continuing to the edge of the freeway, you will see some honey and chamomile plants to pick up. After this point, there isn't really much to pick up. You're just best off climbing your way up the rest of the way. While you are climbing up, you will notice a single chamomile plant off to your right. And as you finish climbing up around halfway, you will notice there is a honey and 2 chamomile spawn. Continue slightly further up and you will notice there is more honey and chamomile. I recommend using survivor sense and listening out for any beehive noises, any bee buzzing, because you will, every time there is a beehive nearby, 9 times out of 10 there will also be chamomile nearby. So listen out for any beehives and obviously use any survivor senses to try and pick them up before you get close, and continue at the top because that's where we will find some more stuff. Once you have finished climbing your way up, I want you to go immediately to your left. If you go to your left, there will be a small hut, and behind that hut you will find a little box to kick open, which is guaranteed to drop a jewelry, and a little box up front which will drop some scrap, I believe, or some rags. These jewelry will be great for getting your first bit of early money, which you would definitely need for the next guide. As you proceed further, obviously outside the building, I want you to loot everything you find. There will be the main house where you will be situated in for the first safe zone tutorial, and before even heading inside the building, I recommend you loot everything on the outside and then head to the little garage where you're meant to open up the thing to start the generator. because this will trigger a necessary cutscene for you to proceed, where you'll have your first combat situation with a special infected. Now with the special infected, you don't have to worry, it will not cause you any extra damage. If your pathing one broke like mine, it is a very simple kill, and it will spawn infinite zombies which also do no damage for the most part. So this is really no problem, it's just to get you used to dodging and dealing with groups of enemies. So proceed with this bit as normal, loot the house, there isn't much to find in there, and I will meet back up with you after. As soon as you enter the little garage area with the generator, there will be a broken axe in a tree stump on your left. So don't forget to grab that on the way out, it's right there, so make sure you grab that before you hop into the building. There's also a couple extra scraps on the side, so obviously like usual, keep spamming the survivor sense and just loot everything and anything, and you'll make it far through this early bit. So as you do enter the second level, there will be in the little dining area a machete type weapon, the gangrene, whatever it's called, on the side, so don't forget to snag that before you go to the little safe area. Before you take the zipline down to the church, I recommend you head down this little side section to it, because there is some chamomile and honey for, once again, extra healing supplies. So as you reach the church area, there will be a couple of things you'll want to grab. There will be a beehive and some chamomile by the exit you'll take towards the main objective, and inside the actual church itself is a Bible where you can get a unique collectible from it. So from this point onwards, my knowledge of the area becomes severely limited because I haven't spent long in the water. Now there is this bus immediately, as you can see, full of loot, a couple bags and stuff. Gives you an assortment of early game resources. In my personal opinion, isn't really worth trying to grab them, especially with such low stamina, because you might end up risking dying. At a later date, I'm probably going to come back through here at some point and scan the entire waterfront. But for the most part, this area is kind of barren. In the actual train station section up above where you climb up, there will be a lot of biters, so be careful when you go up there. But there will be beehives, chamomile, assortments of scrap. There's not really any weapons per se. From my memory right now, I don't recall any. But there was medical supplies and assortment of materials that you could find use of, and it's not really necessary to kill any of these zombies. You can pretty much bypass this section without killing a single thing. But your choice on whether you do or don't actually go after them. So for the underground subway station, there are quite a few things you want to grab. There are lockers, as you can see, that you'll want to search through. After a set of monkey bar swings, I believe it is, there will be a couple barrels, and on top of them is a one-handed mace, which I do recommend you can grab. In the main room where you fight a bunch of enemies is where some of the nicer loot is. There's a couple bags in there which you won't really have an opportunity to loot, but there is another weapon on the floor behind a pillar. So I recommend you grab that, and then once you help the informant after going through all of the little tutorials and stuff, all the combat tutorials, he will hand you a rare machete when you go into the vent, and you will want to keep that machete like you do the baseball bat, since it's another rare weapon which you can put mods on, which will be in the second video. But apart from that, there isn't really much else I can give you information on. This is pretty much where it comes to an end. After this, you go on a short run, and then you end up going to in the bazaar, getting turning or whatever it is. I don't know. I don't remember. Well, that's a lie. I do remember. It's turning. I just don't want to say that just in case I spoiled it for anyone. So yeah, that is all I've really got to say. There's nothing else I can really add to the guide here. Obviously, I reckon in the waterfront there was probably a bit more stuff that if I had a bit more of a thorough check, I probably could have found. It's just such a large body of water that it would have delayed this video by a significant margin. I didn't want to do that since I haven't uploaded in 2 days. But yes, if you enjoyed this video, make sure you like and subscribe. Obviously, the second guide will be released as soon as it is finished. I'm going to still have to collect some information for that because I don't have all the information I want. So there's no saying when it will actually come out, but a good estimate would be in the next couple of days. Not by the end of this week, but in the next couple of days I reckon we'll get it. But yeah, thank you for watching. If you like this video, please like and subscribe, you know what to do, and I shall see you in the next one. Goodbye.